I'm going to tell you about Kiva. Kiva is it's a loan product, and it's especially great for um, people who maybe are just starting out or um, need just like a small amount of money to kind of take them to the next level. So I'll talk a little bit more about that. So I'm just going to go through really what Kiva is, what Kiva US is, because it is an international um, company. And then I'll tell you a bit about how the loan program works. And then I'll go through some of the steps that if you want to apply for a loan, kind of what you'll see. So Kiva is an international company. They started in Africa, making loans to both entrepreneurs and just personal loans, just for people who needed loans. So they set up this website that allows everyday people just to make like a small loan of like $25 that they can, pick someone, make a $25 loan to, and then a bunch of other people make a loan to them, and then you fully fund this person's loan. So they started in 2005, and then they came to the United States in 2011. And I like to show this slide just to show that they're for real, they're legit. They've done a lot of loans and have had a ton of success. So they came to the United States in 2011, and the reason they came here was because they saw this problem with entrepreneurs who needed a small loan. So banks, even more traditional lenders, they want to make large loans because that's how they make their money. So small businesses just didn't have a chance to like get that boost unless they were like doing their credit card or a payday loan. And there was this enormous percentage that you have to pay interest. And they just decided that's what was missing in the United States. And that's what they were going to focus on here. So what they have are what we call nano loans. They're loans from $1,000 to $15,000 at 0% interest, which is like unheard of for a business loan. But nano also in that they remove some of these requirements that more traditional loans have, again, because they're bigger. You have to have like collateral, like a decent amount of collateral, or a really good credit score, or, like a really solid business plan. Kiva doesn't really require those. So they remove all those barriers. And they do this because they are crowdfunded. They are using that system that they established 15 years ago, where entrepreneur will get a bunch of individual little loans. So you're getting your loan from not just one financial institution. There is a system of crowdfunding that Kiva uses. There's a personal part and there's a public part. And I will go through this 3 times during this presentation because it's the part that has the most questions. But it is a system that has really worked well for them. So this is an example of a loan that funded, I think, last year. So Adrian had a $3,500 loan. 58 individual lenders came together to fill that loan for her. And the people who tend to use, Kiva's for people who are just starting out, who, maybe can't get a traditional loan. Of course, more established businesses can use it. And with COVID, we saw that a little bit, but it's neat is really to be sort of that first step in establishing, your first business loan, maybe. And Kiva works in the community, so that's sort of how they spread out the cost of doing these loans. I am paid for through grant funding, some by, city government, some by philanthropists, and community organizations. I work with partners like Jumpstart, and they kind of provide that technical assistance part of it. So, after you get your money, you can still continue to work on your business plan or growing. And then I also help market loans and make connections for lenders that I know locally that want to participate. So like I said, it's key for us to work with these local community organizations to provide that technical assistance so that our borrowers can be successful. So I'm going to dive into the loan program. Qualifications are pretty broad. You have to be 18. You have to use it for a business purpose. So in the US, Kiva does not do personal loans. And then there are certain restrictions, things like if anything is illegal on a federal level, Kiva can't do a loan for it. Also like any sort of multi-level marketing type of business. So that would be like a Mary Kay Tupperware sort of idea. And you cannot currently be in foreclosure or bankruptcy, but you can have that in your past. So I mentioned that you don't have to have, there's like not a minimum credit score requirement or collateral requirement. It goes even further, like if you don't yet have your official government business proof, if you're not in business yet, you still can get a Kiva loan, but they do weigh these things in deciding the amount of loan you can crowdfund for. So if, you're credit invisible or have a low credit score, have maybe a high household debt to income ratio, you can still get a loan, but you're just going to be on that lower end of the $1,000 to $15,000 range. Great thing with Kiva is if you pay back your loan on time, you automatically can take out another one and get double. So that's nice. So the whole process, you submit your application online, and they do ask some financial questions. They're going to ask a bit about like your household income, your household bills. So they're looking at your personal finances because you might be a startup or a new entrepreneur. They want to make sure if your business doesn't make it, you can still make the monthly loan payments without getting into trouble. So it's responsible capital. So you do the whole thing online, and then it comes to me and I get it in shape, make sure it looks good, take care of anything that needs to happen for the next step. And then I send it to Kiva, they review it. And what they do is they decide on how much they're going to allow you to crowdfund for. And they also decide about this private public fundraising. So I'm going to get a little bit more into that now. So the private fundraising stage is sort of the last stage of their underwriting. So what they're going to ask you to do, and this largely depends on how big your loan is, they're going to ask you to get a certain number of $25 loans on your own before you're public on their platform. So you might be approved for $5,000. You might be required to get 5 $25 loans on your own first. So the reason they do this is because they want you to pay the loan back, right? If you think about it, you're going to want to make sure that the people you knew who lent to you get paid back. So this is part of how they sort of vet you to make sure that if they open up your loan to their entire 1.9 million lenders right now, that they're saying to their lenders, this person has proven themselves. They have a community that backs them. So we think you can trust them. So that's the private stage. There's always a lot of questions on it, and I'm going to go through it even a little bit more later. The public stage is then, so during the private stage, you have a link. They give you a link, and that's how you get your loan. So they take care of taking the money and everything. And then on the public stage, you're just on their website. You're there for lenders to choose to make a loan to. Very, very successful in the United States. And since I have been doing this for over a year, 100% successful for those entrepreneurs that get to that public stage. So then you make your payments, you pay back on a fixed monthly schedule, just like you would any other loan. And Kiva will then pay your lenders back for you. So again, the private round, it's providing a character endorsement. And the key in the private round is the number of loans you get and not the dollar amount that you're getting. So here's what we've done in Wisconsin since we've started having Kiva in Wisconsin, over $2 million in loans. So we think we have a pretty good system down. We have a good relationship with Kiva, and we have a lot of local lenders here. And I'm always asked, how is Kiva different than like a typical GoFundMe or something like that? And the big difference, the really big differences are those crowdfunders do charge both fees and interest, and it's a decently hefty amount. Kiva is 0% interest and 0 fees. And they can do that because one of the Kiva founders works for PayPal. So they do everything through PayPal, and there's an agreement, no fees. The other really big difference is that it's a loan. It's not a donation. So you do have to pay it back. It's a pretty big deal. And, we try to make sure that entrepreneurs have support to help them be successful. So it's all online, the application process. You would apply on kivaushub.org, and there's a borrower drop-down where you can apply there, but it also goes through each thing that I'm talking about here. So you can, review, get more information, get tips, get links. It's a really good website. It's pretty new for them. So definitely keep that in mind. And this is sort of what it looks like if you, dive in and get more information. And like I said, you can apply right here. The application is different from a traditional loan. They will ask you for a photograph of you and your business. And then they ask you to write 2 paragraphs, which is very different from a traditional loan. But they will also ask some more traditional questions, right, about finances. So little bit traditional, a little bit untraditional. And as you go through, they do explain each part. But really with Kiva, some of the most important parts are your photo, your story, how you're going to use your loan. Because you are on their webpage. If someone wants to loan to you, they want to know a little bit about you, about your business, and they want to hear what you're going to use your loan for. So these are really critical parts for a Kiva loan. And the application itself, this is what it looks like. So it's just like you fill in the blanks, and they provide links or leading questions to help you get started on your written portions. The left-hand side, you can jump around, do certain parts at certain times. As long as you hit that save and continue at the bottom, it'll keep your information for the next time you log on. So all of these things come together for your loan profile. And I just grabbed Tony's. She just finished fundraising. But this is what they put together for you, and it looks pretty slick. It shows you, it tells, it has like a tagline, and then it sort of tells about you, what you're going to use your loan for. So this is what it looks like. So after you do the application, after I look at it, we send it to Kiva. They will then send an email saying, here's what you were approved to crowdfund for. Here's how many private loans we're asking you to get. Do you want to do this or not? So you get a chance to say, no, or yeah, I want to move forward. So if you move forward, you accept their loan offer, and then you wait for that link. They're going to send you a link for you to begin that private fundraising period. And at this time too, you can set the date in the future. You don't have to begin immediately. And then when you're private fundraising, so in this example, this borrower needed to get 20 lenders, which is pretty high. That's, he had a $10,000 loan. But when you're private fundraising, on the top, you're going to have the total number of lenders that you need to get, and then how far, how many you've gotten so far. And this is what you would send out via social media, via like email or however you want to do it, and say, hey, I've got this opportunity for a 0% interest business loan. I'm looking for 8 backers of $25. It's a loan. You'll get paid back. Use this link to make a loan to me. Once you hit that goal, you move on to public fundraising. And this is where you're going to be listed with all the other loans that are public fundraising in the United States. And this is why, it's good to have this photo where you're smiling or something eye-catching that sort of kind of represents your business as best as you can. Again, here you can like communicate with the people who have lent to you. You can continue crowdfunding, but really at this point, it largely takes care of itself. Yeah, you have 30 days in that stage to hit your goal. So once you're fully funded, everything gets distributed to you in about a week. It goes through a PayPal account. So you just connect whatever account you want with your PayPal account. And then you start repaying on a monthly basis. Right now, Kiva has a 3-month payment deferral, so that's great. They also are in a low loan stage period, so they have reduced the private loans that most people have to get. So it's a really good time to do a loan. I've had people really fly through this pretty quickly in the last couple months. But so you repay, you pay Kiva essentially through their platform, and then they pay all of your lenders back. So I right now have a bunch of loans that I've made. I might get 80 cents one month, $1 another month. So it just keeps coming back. At any time, you can pull the money out from Kiva. You can keep it in there and relend it. There's no penalties. There's no fees. And, who makes a good Kiva borrower? It is someone really who needs that small business loan. Someone who can navigate the online application. It's not hard. We say that you should be tech willing. You don't really have to be tech able. I can help people through pretty well. And then, people who do have some supporters in their network. Those are the people that can best successfully get through each stage. So that's my spiel about Kiva.